Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next episode of Cubism, with a very festive episode of Cubism.
Festive? It's New Year's?
We missed a bunch of stuff. We've been doing nothing. We've been busy, but we've been producing nothing. With Christmas.
Some would say that's a specialty of ours.
It's something we're very good at. With Christmas, we're recording this on New Year's Eve. It's 5 hours, 15 minutes. People are going to be counting down. But, not us. We're here to bring our pretty overdue episode, holiday episode, if you will. So, this week, we're not doing any reviews or top 10s or whatever. I guess that's not true. It is kind of review. It's a year in review. So we're talking about 2017's report card and how it performed in Cube and how it affected a lot of us, a lot of you and me. So, I guess right before we get into the list, we'd like to make sure to thank our sponsor, the Mana Base. The Mana Base is your home base for all Magic the Gathering, everything except vintage. Go there for everything but vintage. TheManaBase.com. You find guys like us, guys like Austin, who we've exiled into Pauper. But Pauper's booming now. Pauper, GPs have Pauper side events now.
Really?
Yeah, so Pauper's great. It's a good time to be into the Pauper market. So,
I don't know if Austin should be the face of Pauper. But...
I don't know if Austin should be the face of anything. But, he has a really good persona when he's not being himself. When he pretends to like Magic and stuff like that. So, anyway, that's fine. So this year, we had, four regular sets, and then a couple other reprint sets, and then Commander. So we had Aether Revolts at the very beginning of the year, into Amonkhet, Hour Devastation, and then the introduction to Ixalan, the first half of Ixalan, as well as Commander 2017. So,
And two Masters?
Yeah, Modern Masters 2017 and Iconic Masters. So, the sets are pretty fine. I think going into Amonkhet, the people assumed it was going to be this power down set after the very powerful Kaladesh block, after the very powerful Battle for Zendikar block, and it was. But, as we found out shortly, it ended up performing quite well, and then into the Ixalan block, which was this, people it was this
even
tribal,
more powered down.
Tribal, even more powered down set.
Pigeonhole mechanics.
Yeah, but
tribal dinosaurs.
It ended up being a lot better than I had ever hoped for. It's actually one of my favorite sets of the year. And then we got Commander. So Commander, they got instead of a theme, I guess no, that's true. They chose instead of a color theme, they chose a tribal theme. So we got 4 new decks: vampires, cats, dragons, wizards, with a handful of cards in there too. So it's been, it's been a pretty good year in terms of set quality, as well as the master sets, Iconic Masters, Modern Masters. Modern Masters had a lot of big reprints like Fetch Lands, which were huge, and then Iconic Masters had cards like Mana Drain, which
trap.
Yeah, which reignited the conversation of, well, now that the card is affordable, accessible, or I can open one, should I play it? Which is I think it's a good topic to bring up again. So, I guess we're going to be going over a couple things in this set before we get into the
episode.
No, the later part of the episode, which we'll talk about in the later part. So we're going to break it up the year in a couple parts. So, most impressive set, overrated cards, sleeper cards, best cards, maybe some other notes aside from that. But I also looking at numbers of just Cube Tutor and stuff. And if you haven't been on Cube Tutor, it's definitely the best source for anything Cube related in terms of just raw data,
sample size.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to scour over a list. It's the easiest way to get these kind of numbers.
It's the only way. You can
go to MTG Salvation and just export Excel documents. But anyway,
I still have mine in an Excel document too.
I found my old ones from back from 2010, not that long ago.
You should get it framed, put it up in your apartment.
So CubeTutor.com, for those of you who haven't been there, I recommend it to everybody, though I'm sure all of you are very familiar. So based on CubeTutor data, and I guess looking at my cube, reflecting on mine and Drew's cube too, are you surprised with most influential set?
No.
Yeah, so like we discussed, we thought Amonkhet was going to be a power down block, with Rivals being a bigger power down block. So I guess Amonkhet being on the beginning half of it made it the most influential set. So Amonkhet has the most playable cards out of it. It doesn't necessarily have any huge home runs, but it has a lot
Brings up the medium power level a tiny bit. Fills in some
Absolutely,
gaps.
it had a lot of solid cards. It had a lot of sleeper cards. It had a lot of things going for it, including Lisa, Steward of Elements, which was one of our long overdue good Simic cards. But they had cards. Like I said, I have a short list here of. Actually, it's not true. It's pretty long. Glorybound Initiate, Censor, Dread Wanderer, Never Return, Soulscar Mage, Oncrop Crasher, Manglehorn, Vizier, Nisa, Gideon, Commit to Memory, Hazaret, Harshmentor, Ronus, like the other gods. The cycle lands. It kind of goes on. The set was pretty deep for what people assumed was going to be a fairly shallow set, which is great. It's great. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. The gods ended up being a little worse than I thought they'd be.
I think they're a little bit better than I feared that they would not be, because like the original cycle, not very playable.
I guess out of the 15 from Theros block, how many of them are actually playable?
That's our barrier right now, right? And you're like, okay, these are the gods previously printed.
That's fair. We had 2.5.
These things animate.
Like Ronus is fine, Hazaret is good. I think Kefnet is fine.
I like Ronus.
I like Ronus too. And then then was it Oketra's like below fine, and then Bontu's.
I might want to pick up just to complete the set, but it's not
literally
cheap
this
enough.
garbage can it's holding on my laptop. We have a really high production set here.
Don't let your secrets get out.
Don't want them to replicate our quality content. We have the garbage can that holds up the MacBook. So it ended up being a great set. You know what? It's literally on the spot, but I think, excluding Commander, I think Hour has the least played cards, but has some of the biggest impactful cards. So like a la Scarab God, a la Nicol Bolas.
That's probably all you need just for.
I think a Braid was in that set.
So
yeah. And we're moving along here. So something we were very happy to see that we noticed a lot in this year was the Wizards is printing a lot more gold planeswalkers. There's a lot in this set. There's 7, not including the dual deck ones, which is great. So it's good to be able to push multiple planeswalkers in cube because like there were only so many of them. They're actually good, but there were a lot of misses. So there were a lot of misses this year. We got Samet the Tested, Huatli, which I play on a lot of everybody. Johnny Unyielding, Tezzeret the Schemer, but then, then we had Nisa again, we had Vraska, which ended up being better than expected, and, then we got a lot of Planeswalker deck ones, which aren't good, but, as well as Nicol Bolas. So they keep, I'm super happy they keep pushing multicolor Planeswalkers instead of just printing, monocolor Planeswalkers, because I think you can kind of tinker with the power level a little more, but have it hindered by its, multiple
Some
color.
walkers are better in your deck, or a strategy that you're trying to push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to others like Venser. It's kind of the poster child for that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of gold planeswalkers, we actually got a new gold planeswalker today. That's spoiled officially today, or officially spoiled, and that's the pack version of Angrath. So Angrath, I want to save it for later on. But if you haven't checked it out, I'm more impressed than I thought I'd be, because I have such a low bar of expectation for Rakdos, for Minotaurs.
Oh, that's the entire package. It's
it's a Minotaur, it's a Rakdos card, it's a Planeswalker. I had very low bar, So the card was better than I thought. That's probably not good. That doesn't mean it's good. But more on Angrath in another episode. So that brings us into our next, category. So we're gonna talk about sleeper cards. So sleeper cards are, cards of me.
You missed the category, but
did I miss a category? I did. Don't worry, that's next. We're gonna come back to that one.
Okay.
So sleeper cards that we obviously dismissed and had didn't have very high hopes of. Didn't even talk about at all in some cases. So, why don't you start off with the bottom of the list here?
Bottom of the list.
It's in no order. So we're starting at the bottom for no reason.
Okay. On-Crop Crasher.
See,
it's kind of.
I'm actually mad at myself.
Very medium, but
it is very
really
medium.
What you want.
It's
like the Haste Goblin.
Bogart Ram Gang.
No,
not Bogart Ram Gang.
The one you kind of he comes back to your hand after he attacks. Heel Cutter.
Oh yeah, Goblin Heel Cutter. Right. Yeah, it's an infinitely better version of that card. So not that long ago, I was running Bogart Ram Gang. Not that long ago, it was probably like over a year. because red 3-drops are kind of weak. You just want the haste idiots. So I'm actually sad that I missed this card in the review. And obviously, it showed its power in standard. It has 3 mana. It's easy to cast. It has 3 power. It has gets rid of annoying blockers, so it's great on curve. It's great in specific board states. I think it's an overall card that's it's very, very good. I'm super happy to have it. That we didn't talk about at all. What was it on the radar?
I think a lot of people didn't talk about that one.
I think so too. And yeah, I think once it was kind of flushed out into Ramen App Red, people kind of appreciate it a little more. I actually have no idea if you will play it, but if you don't, I recommend trying it out because red 3-drops are kind of meh. So the next one is as previously discussed, Nicobolas God Pharaoh.
I think both of us weren't very enthusiastic about it.
No, like old one's better.
Like you can kill something.
Yeah.
Guaranteed when he shows up to the party.
Yeah, so the fact that he costs 1 less mana, which is huge. He's easier to cast. His abilities are both very, very good. They're not like destroying a random permanent or non-creature permanent was fine, and taking control of a creature is fine. But new Nicobolas is better into an empty board. It's
cheaper, easier to cast.
And even when you're fighting over a board, it scrolls up to 1,000,000 loyalty while getting a random spell at your opponent's deck, or it just 7s something. Or in a lot of random matchups, it 7s them. I've killed people by 7ing them. It's really weird. But again, it's a card that I expected the old one to be much better. I was very, very happy to be proven wrong because his art is infinitely better. Big fan. Cascade's great.
Got the promo one. Art's kind of worse.
Yeah, he's like, I'll get you, Planeswalkers.
Maybe, eventually. I'll get you, Gadget.
Next card, almost we gave it the exact same review, and that's Rishkar, Pima Renegade.
I still won't play this card.
You should play it. It's great. I've been more than impressed with it. I thought, it's just like a 3-mana liner wolf that makes you another liner. It's great. It's a great kind of filler card when you're playing those kind of ramp decks. It makes your winter elf guys much more of a threat, while also distributing a bunch of counters that can just ramp you infinitely more the next turn. It kind of does double duty, being a super ramp creature while also just being a tempo creature. So, again, I was very, very impressed with it. And again, it had a very, very strong showing in Standard too, which helped convince me. So,
the theme of the episode? Well, I don't know if Bolas sees any Standard play. But...
It saw Reed Duke played it in the very first week in Teamer Energy with an Oath of Nisa.
That sounds like Reed Duke, though.
Yeah, but that's sweet. I want to do that.
There is Shaker Kenra.
Yeah, you know what? Undervaluing easy to cast red haste creatures seems to be a common trend in
With
this.
an ability.
2
abilities. It's got haste.
I still agree the 6 mana to flash it back I think it's happened
very
literally one time. But again, highly underrated, easy to cast, 2 power haste, makes a guy not block most of the time. Very, very good. And it does when it comes down to the long grinding game. It comes back, it can't be countered. Again, super underrated. Ramen Up Red, on the back of a couple of these cards, just became a super powerful, red, one of the best powerful, or one of the most, I keep going to most and best, one of the best red decks in Standard in a while. So obviously the cards are very, very powerful, along with Hazoret in the same set. So these cards are all built to succeed.
There's a lot of red cards in our initial review, so
yeah.
I guess it makes sense. Some of them would drop off, like, this is a common, this is kind of expensive to flashback.
Yeah, I think we're too hung up on the Eternalize mechanic of it that we were blinded by the front half of the card.
One of your favorite cards.
Speaking of red haste creatures that we underrated.
Or possibly didn't talk about initially.
Glorybringer wasn't even on the list. I love Glorybringer. Oh my god. That card's great.
You got this red, no, it wasn't red. It was blue-black control deck that you jammed Glorybringer in incorrectly because it performed better once you played Tombstalker instead.
Admittedly, Tombstalker needed the... Well, and because I needed something to block, and Glorybringer doesn't block super great, but I love that card. Didn't talk about it at all. It's great. I like it more than Thundermaw Hellkite. I was on the fence for a long time. I like it more than Thundermaw Hellkite.
Last time we talked about it,
I was kind of like, this time, 100% like it more than Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yeah.
All in.
I run it. I got the game day promo. Don't like that art either.
I don't like it either, but
stop
it's
playing
cool.
the pack foils that have better art.
I really like
Glorybringer's
original art.
choice.
It's really sweet.
Life-changing decision.
Yeah, this card's completely separate. This card is
I like this card a lot. Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
Yeah, it's
the best version of that type of card, the 2-drop that you kind of want to attack. But
Yeah, it's like a Bob effect that they keep trying to print that are never good. That this one, just the fact that it's a 1 in a black 2/1 menace is already good enough stats on its own. People still play like Dothy horror and stuff like that. So it's not super common anymore, but it was very rampant for a long time. So I like this card as a nice upgrade that also cashes in you a card the following turn.
Yeah, it comes when it comes into play.
Yeah, so that's attack and then get. So it's not super. It's not like the most efficient card in the world, but it was nice. Anytime I get a black creature that is better than expected, I'm super happy because black creatures are abysmal. We'll be talking about those later on.
It's better than a Silent Visitor.
Oh yeah, and the Silent Visitor was like the best version of that card too.
It was very highly rated when that set came out.
It was, and that card it just can't attack. Those creatures can never attack. This one can attack. That's why it's good, big time. But it has energy. I think it's energy themed too. People,
I got like 5 energy cards in the cube. I had everyone draft all of them or in one deck once. It was like the energy deck, that cards that happen to have energy.
Yeah. So obviously these cards were a little hard to evaluate just because of energy. So that's why I want to say that's why we're not wrong. we did not make a wrong evaluation.
Earthshaker Kenra with his energy.
Well, So those are the cards that we felt we made the biggest. Again, we made a miss on. We just didn't. It wasn't even on the radar. Or cards that I was eventually convinced. Or I like trying a lot of new cards just for the sake of trying new cards. Have be able to talk about them in this situation. And all these cards impressed me way more than expected. And they're all cards I still run today that I'm super happy to run. And I don't think I'd replace any of them anytime soon. Well, speaking of bad Bob effects they print every year, one that was also surprisingly better than I thought. It almost made this list. That's Ruin Raider.
Yeah, Ruin Raider.
Again, that's a card. I said I don't even know how many times in the review. I see myself cutting this card in 3 months.
Still good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's way better than expected because you send a guy in, slam it, draw a card. It doesn't have to attack to actually draw the cards, which is great.
It's got a really anemic body, but
yeah. But the fact that you get to draw the card the turn you play it is huge, and the cards have been fantastic since. So speaking of cards that aren't fantastic, I was trying to think to make this list bigger, and I couldn't really.
We're all really hard on cards when they come out initially.
Probably
everyone's excited about the set. We're just looking to hate on random things.
Yeah, there's definitely a card or two that we're going to be talking about shortly that I don't want to like just because everyone else likes it, which is a terrible reason not to like a card. But
I'm guilty of it.
Oh yeah, you're right. And that's Growing Rights of Itlamok. Maybe not necessarily the most cube hype. I know people are really excited about it. Second Coming of Gaia's Cradle. This one is really bad.
I still run it.
I do too for this because I try to run. Excuse me. I try to run most of the cards from the newest set up until this point, just so we can kind of talk about it. And it's been so lackluster. It's that one and the red one actually. The red one was a card that we were super high on. That also just like super disappointing. I haven't been happy about either. The only time that Growing Rights has ever been good for me is once on Moto. That is all.
If things are good on Moto in the Moto Cube,
Moto
probably
Cube's,
not a good scale.
The Moto Cube is good.
Not a good comparison.
The Vintage Cube makes my brain hurt.
I looked at a list and it's like my day just got worse. Like I'm straight up. I think it was maybe Simple Man that posted it. I was like, thanks, man.
What you just maybe look at the red section, and they have 4 2-drops and 7 5-drops. 3 of them are the same card. They have Glorybringer,
Dragons,
Thunderman Hellkite, and Stormbright Dragon. Yeah. 7 5-drops. No Goblin Realm Master.
I don't think you have to say any more than that.
No.
That just sums up the entire cube.
So, yeah, big Ripperino. So that brings us to, I guess, the epitome. Is epitome the right word? Pinnacle, peak.
I am big on just talking randomly, and these large words will come out, and I'm not sure if they're in the correct context, but I throw them out there anyway. So you just have to go with it.
That's fair. Well, that brings us to the conclusion.
I think it's epitome, but
the end of, I guess, the final part, which is the best cards of the year. That we think are the best cards of the year. Hopefully you think, but damn it. So we have some honorable mentions first. So the first one is Manglehorn. I know you run Manglehorn. Your cube's a little bigger than mine. But I think just in powered environments, that card's insane. it's the best Viridian Shaman you can get.
It randomly hoses things.
It's great.
For better or for worse.
Yep. Another one is Karzev. Karzev just short making the list because it's a very boring card, and it's not that red needed necessarily 2-drops. It's not that it's unwelcome. It's one of the best 2-drops in red in the aggressive decks. That's great.
I'm not unhappy picking this very highly.
Yeah.
If I'm in that type of strategy.
And speaking of red, is a Braid. A Braid is another great utility card that has it's been great all year. It's been great in every format. It's a great utility card. You can't really argue the value of that card. So speaking of cards that did make the list, so number 5 we have a very recent card, and it's Search for Azcanta.
That was underrated.
I think a lot of people underrate it. I think a lot of people still underrate it, and I think there's so much of these like blue Delvey graveyard cards matters now that this card, it's great if you're fueling that. It helps your draws in the early game. It's a super low commitment. It's like all of those like Thassa, Monastery Siege. It's all like those cards, but it's just the best version of that card.
It's cheaper than all those versions.
It's cheaper. The payoff is infinitely better. It rampant growths you in the color that you want it the most that you don't have access to. And then it turns into this, like, you get to play this draw-go game. You get to sit on your activating Search for Azcanta, which is super good. It helps you draw your win conditions. It just does everything. It does everything I want it to do for such a low mana cost.
Investment.
Low investment, low mana cost. The payoff is huge. I'm super, super excited about this card. I think easily the most impressed out of all the flip cards.
I might cut it because that game, when you played me and you drew a counterspell every turn for the 5 turns, and I was drawing very
I got
live,
to see 5 cards a turn.
You still countered every spell I had.
It was great. Fantastic card.
I guess going into just because, well, it's a good card, but also Simic is terrible. We've got Nissa, Steward of Elements.
So Nissa makes the top 5 list, not necessarily because it is one of the most powerful cards of the year or best cards of the year.
It's one of the most needed cards of the year.
It is one of the most needed cards, and that's just a good Simic card. We're at that point in our lives when we're this happy.
Yeah.
You literally get it. I guess you're not getting a medal, but you're really, really close, just because you're a playable card in an unplayable color combination. That's great.
Very end.
So right after Nissa is the very, very boring Fatal Push. I tried not to put this card on the list just for the sake because it's super boring, kind of like a Braid, but it's super good. It's super good.
I have a feeling it's not getting the proper recognition.
It probably isn't.
That the card deserves for what it does, but it kills a lot of things when you need to kill it. And if you draw it late, it will still kill something. Something will happen. It doesn't matter how big the creature is.
If you smother a 2-drop, it's fine. If you hit a 4-drop, it's insane. Or, sorry, if you hit a 4-power card, or 4-drop, it's insane. The card's fantastic. Again, another great card. It's obviously played in every format. It's fantastic. The fact that you play limited, so you don't have maybe access to Revolt as much, doesn't really hold the card back too much. Fantastic.
Speaking of cards from earlier that I kind of want to hate, or at least not as much as I
didn't want to like this card at all.
Fracturing Identity.
Its art's still terrible.
I'm sure it is. I don't play it.
You will.
I will eventually. I have run many cards that I said I didn't like initially. I am not too big to admit those types of things.
Well, that's part of it. Trying to be as unbiased as possible. So again, I wanted to not like the card just solely based on how the hype built around it. I mean, maybe not to not like it, but to try to play both sides of like, maybe it's kind of like bribery. Like if you watch a show for any amount of time, we're not a fan of bribery. And this card is like, is this card just another bribery? Is it good in every matchup? Are you actually going to play it that often? Is 5 mana too slow?
I think we've settled on a slightly worse treachery.
Yeah, it's all treachery, but the card is fantastic. It leads to like board states, whatever. It has huge swings. Yesterday, it ate a Wormcoil Engine. It ate a Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh, which then 7'd another Planeswalker. It ate Austin?
It's expensive, flashy spell. It's going to be good in the late game.
Big
in the aggro matchup, this thing's nothing.
Austin was on this like Bant kind of deck, and his opponent was playing blue-white, and Austin played Gisela. The opponent played Treachery on Gisela, and then played Angel of Invention. Austin Fractured Identity, Treachery to get back as Gisela to take the Angel, and the game was over on the spot. So the card is very, very powerful. Admittedly, it isn't the best against the aggro decks, but, not everything's against
Not every card's
and you can't expect a card to be good against every single matchup. But in mid-range and control decks, this card's a powerhouse. It's very, very powerful. Art is terrible. That's what I got. It's not pretty. Speaking of pretty.
I think this card's good in every matchup.
Oh yeah, I slammed it on 5 last turn. The last night didn't care. I was like, you can't kill this.
I did that on Friday, and when I murderous, it wasn't on 5. It was on 6. But we murderous cutted a Grave Titan, and we reanimated on upkeep. Lost and scooped.
Yeah. So the Scarab God is unsurprisingly our favorite card of the set, our favorite card of the year. Mike, a friend of ours, played against it for the first time ever yesterday, and it wasn't a great experience. Oh, this card's so good. Takes over games. It's hard to kill. It's easy to cast. Its abilities shouldn't be an instant. It has too many lines of text. It has so many things going on.
I got the Invention one, or it's really hard to read. Super
hard to read. Literally looks like an Egyptian god card. It's great. Big fan.
I think that's it.
It's just like the staying power.
It's one of the best guilds.
It's one of the best. It's arguably one of the most powerful cards in Standard. It's every deck splashing it, assuming you have access to one of the colors. It's very easy to play the other color. It's a fantastic card. Super good. Too good. My Demir section's now all creatures. I don't know what's happening in my life.
Yeah, mine might be too now.
Did you add a hostage taker?
Yeah.
Yeah, so after I added hostage taker, they're all guys. All of them. 2017. That's it. I guess, those are 5 fantastic cards. I'm super excited to see out 2017. I'm very, very happy with this list. I wish I looked into previous years, because we've done this before, to see how it stacked up. This is great. These are all great. 2017, a great year. Great year for Magic. Great year for Cube.
The format that matters.
The only format that matters.
Other than 250.
So, now that... So with 2017 out of the way, we have 2018 coming in 5 hours. We're going to talk about some things we want out of 2018. So what's the first thing that comes to mind out of 2018? If you had to make a wish list, you have to write to Santa Claus or whatever god you believe in.
Number one thing?
Yeah.
I want a black 4-drop that costs 3 in a black that is not awful.
Does that commander card in...
That's not awful.
Okay, that card's awful, but that's not my point.
We got Vizier of Menagerie in green.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first cards in that color combination that has a reasonable cast cost. All my black is 4 black or 2 black and 2 colorless because we play Obliterator. It's kind of a me thing, my problem, but
yeah, easy to cast 4 drops.
There isn't one.
So my gripe, along with your black 4-drop, is just black creatures in general. So we had extremely slow zombie come out earlier this year. By earlier this year, I mean like a month ago. I kind of just want a black bordered version of extremely slow zombie.
Rich and a Nerd doesn't do it for you?
No, not anymore. But my notes here, kind of looking through it, is I just want a black creature from 2 to 4. One of them that's good. We got Kalitas recently. It does cost double black, but Kalitas is fantastic. But black, I think, has an identity issue. They reanimate super well. They have super good discard. They have super good removal. They have certain very unique effects that you can only find in black. But the creatures are all bad. They're there's Grave Titan, and there's gonna be Grave Robber's fine. This is creatures are just not the power level, consistency it's all over the map. The curve is bad.
I ran Marsh Flitter for a while because it had a reasonable match to cast, and it wasn't awful.
Half of the color wants to be an aggro deck. The other half of the color is stacks or just these big control decks. It has to be the most confused color in all of Cube. Red and white might be boring, but they're good. They're very good at what they do. Where black is. You put a Reanimator package in here, or you splash the Hand Disruption here, or you play Grave Titan over here, or you play Stacks, you have a very committed Stacks package, or a mono black package. But it doesn't, you just can't just play the best black creatures. You have to kind of have this theme-ish. I'm kind of playing some zombies for some reason. Why? Because they're kind of okay.
They're not that much worse than the other packages.
Yeah. You know what, actually, I started running Crypt Breaker, who's been very medium. It's like a cheap 1-drop. It kind of does stuff. There's kind of enough zombies to make it work. It's what if they just kind of a la humans, where they just made all the white creatures and red creatures humans, where you can eventually play
Champion of the
Parish, Thalia's Lieutenant, and then you just kind of have this human package just incidentally. I wonder how much work it'd be to make zombies kind of like that. You'd have to kind of make a bunch of generically good zombies, and then like Crypt Breaker to be a payoff for that. But zombies
It's
normally
a siloed
have
package, though. You're not gonna get your red zombies and your white zombies.
I don't know what the answer is for black. I'm sure Wizards doesn't know either. But black creatures in general are just a mess.
I think this is more of a over the next 3 or 4 years type of wish list.
Kind of. This is like the black sucking is almost an episode on its own. But I'll take black bordered, extremely slow zombie, and anything else. Drew's 4-drop. Just give me those. And that's fine. But outside of black, another gripe I have is with white. So it's not that white creatures are poor. Like I think white's weakest section is actually the bigger creatures in white. Not necessarily the cards like Hero, Bladehold, or Baneslayer Angel are bad, but you're in an era when removal is so efficient, and the pace of the game is very quick, where those cards aren't impactful fast enough. They're very good if you on top of them. They're fantastic. They're some of the hardest cards to beat. I don't even want a card that's more powerful than those cards. I just want something kind of like, that doesn't use powerful, kind of maybe value-y, come into play, get some sort of effect, like a bigger Blade Splicer. Maybe like a Wingmate Rock or something, like without raid. I don't know. That's like the worst part. Is like I don't really know what I want, but I want it, and I want it in 2018.
Well, I play
I'll
Angel
be mad
of
if I don't get
Serenity, and I've wanted to replace it for a while.
Yeah, on your notes here, you specifically point out Angel of Serenity and Combustible Gearhulk.
That's another card I just have in there as a higher end card in red, and I want something in that era.
Because you have the invention, it's okay to say it.
That too. I got a deal on it.
There are, I guess, in terms of big white creatures or big red creatures, red has Infernal Titan, and that's where it drops off. And white has Elishnorn, which is great, but, maybe...
I don't even like Sun Titan that much. Like, it's fine.
Sun Titan's actually been a card that's been... you think the card just gets better over time, because, like, the cards it's able to bring back get more powerful. But the fact that it's 6, it's slower... It's actually it's starting to fall off. It doesn't see nearly as much play as it did.
We're going to throw out the word
Logi. Logi? What is Logi?
I think it's generally very slow and, like, Snorlaxy.
Alright, sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we'll just throw out the words, and hopefully they work.
Assume they're right. So, yeah, I guess there's, like, no really high-end red guys. There's, like, there's Elishnorn and white, but you just kind of want a different guy. But, I don't know. What else we got on here? I would like a green planeswalker that doesn't do the same thing as every other green planeswalker.
You don't want ones that make wolves or beasts?
Or on top lands? No. I want something else. I don't know, again, I'm not sure what, but I want it.
Draw a card.
This wish list is very vague. But I want them. And I guess the one thing that, obviously, in Nisa Steward developments that we want is better gold card. They don't have any planeswalkers. Planeswalkers are fine. That's fine.
There's several guilds that are weaker than the other guilds.
Yeah,
we want to
certain
bump
guilds,
them up a little bit.
like half of them aren't good. So we have Rakdos. So where we have is Rakdos, Selesnya, Simic, Izzet, Boros. So a lot of them are enemy colored, which is kind of to be expected. But Rakdos, actually, it's funny when Angrath got spoiled, people said, like, oh yeah, Rakdos is a really tight section. I don't agree. There are a lot of cards that might seem very appealable. You can just have 100 Terminates in your red-black section, but I want more. And we've talked about it a lot in previous episodes, that I want my gold cards to best represent and to be at the same time fairly unique to what those color combinations do. Red-black decks are typically aggressive. I can get 100 removal spells in red and black. Why would I play 5 Terminates? Just waste slots. I play Rakdos, Cackler in red. I believe you do too.
Yep.
Because it's just a red card. So then that leaves us with I do play Dreadbore. I'm not happy about it, but I play Dreadbore.
I play Terminate instead of Dreadbore.
Falkenrath Aristocrat. Kolaghan's Command. And then there's Rakdos Return.
Yeah, I play
I'm forgetting
that right
one. I'm not sure which one I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting one. And then there's Blightning.
We've tried the other 2 Olivias.
Yeah, the 3-mana Olivia wasn't very good. The 4-mana Olivia was fine.
It's fine.
But it's not really a Rakdos card. It's a Grixis card. It's a Mardu card. It's a control card. Kind of like Angrath. Angrath is a kind of a control card. So it got such as Rakdos. So even Selesnya, there's a lot of options. They're all boring. Just kind of want to change it up a bit. Simic is Simic. Izzet has if you're talking about having 5 of the same effects, Izzet is literally the poster boy for that. You want 100, deal minimal damage, and draw half a card.
And sometimes tap and then tap things.
Yeah,
you staple them all together.
You play 100 of them. Fire Ice, Electrolyze, Turn Burn, Winter Flame.
Is a charm.
There's 100 of them. You play all of them. Don't do that. And Boros. I'm playing Huatli. That's how bad Boros is.
Assemble a Legion?
Huatli was fine, actually, for me yesterday, to be fair. But it's not good. Like, Assemble, you have, like, Boros Reckoner, Figure Destiny's fine. Lightning Helix
Figure Destiny, I play in white, I think.
Johnny, you know what? Johnny's fine. Just starting to show its age.
It's a real nice foil. It's hard to get.
Yeah, it's really nice. The Shards foil is really nice. Yeah, so, you know, I'm not sure what I want more. Black, like, my love.
I want a Black 4-drop more.
I think I want black creatures more than all of these gold cards, which is sad. Because I think I've accepted how bad certain guilds are. That I can get over it. But black needs the help. Mark Rosewater, if you ever hear this, please.
He's one of our dozens of viewers.
I need black border, extremely soul zombie, and black Threat Dusk. Some of that.
I'm in.
Some of that. All right, Threat Dusk has 5.
We even have the
Black Hunt Master.
No, I'm fine with the 5-drop. Yeah, we're playing Sidisi and Grey Merchant, I think. I might be playing one more.
I added Custody Lich recently. It's really zany. More on that later.
Don't like that mechanic.
I'm not talking about that today. But yeah, we have one more small note here of things that Drew wants in 2018.
Well, it's because I have the pretty cube.
I have the poor cube, so I don't care about foils.
There's multiple different Judge foils and Master sets out each year. They
printed Mystic Confluence as a Judge foil.
Exactly.
Anything can happen.
It's great.
Anything.
What would really help me run this Fractured Identity, other than just purchasing one right over there, would be to get a foil one. That'd be nice.
Hopefully with different art. Big fan of different art.
And somehow Basalt Monolith has missed all these commander sets and foil
even
printings.
Warren Power Stone got
From the Vaults.
EMA.
Actually, I don't want From the Vaults. No From the Vaults.
Take it back. Take it back. We rescind the From the Vaults. But
those foils are bad.
So we want full Basalt Monolith and full Fractured Identity.
Yeah, and Necromancy would be nice.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even that mad about the Visions one. I've kind of just accepted its fate of it always being from Visions.
We got a nice animate dead.
We did. And there's beta animate that too, which is like really nice.
Ran that one before that, yeah.
So that's it. That's our review for 2017. It's been a great year. A lot of good sets. And going into what this was assuming to be a lot of power down sets. It's great. There's been a lot of quality cards, a lot of quality content. Even Unstable. Unstable, a set not designed at all for cubes, still managed to be great for lands, tokens. So even
turn heads, generate discussion.
Yeah, again, a set not at all designed most likely not designed for cubes, still was able to provide some sort of content for us, which is fantastic. So hopefully you had a great holidays, a great Christmas. My Christmas was, I got a microwave and a knife block.
I got a file folder for storing receipts.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're old and your life's awful.
Got a pillow. That's not bad. I got a cup, a little mug for BB-8 from Star Wars, and I looked on the inside, and it was from the previous Star Wars movie, Episode 7, and it had a tag on it that was from HMV, which closed down. So
it's got super clearance,
discount clearance last movie Star Wars BB-8 mug.
Well, I can say I was really excited about microwave. That's the life that I now have. I don't know if that's great, but hopefully you had a good Christmas. I didn't say I had a bad Christmas. I'm just saying that's adult Christmas, very medium. And my New Year's plans are literally this.
You're gonna go eat?
I'm probably gonna go eat and then go over my cube, to be honest, because there was a cube a cube drought for me that I didn't play my cube for almost a month. It felt insane. So.
And you hammered off 3 or 4 in the last 2 days.
Couple, so. I want to kind of go over it again and do a bunch of nonsense. It makes you feel good. So, again, I'd like to thank the Matabase. The Matabase is the provider that lets us bring you this quality content. So make sure to check out thematabase.com for all your Magic the Gathering needs. That is content. Except vintage. Popper. Again, Popper's huge. Popper's like blowing up. Austin Hoey. We fired him from Cubism, and now he's making big Popper bucks. So, be sure to check him out. He's a cool guy.
That looked painful.
That was a paid advertisement. So I guess that's it. As normal, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Drew.
And have a good New Year.